Screw the knurled nut in place. This is the same type of nut used as with the 4-color changer. Only tighten this up to the outer edge. It will not tighten to the shoulder, as was the case with the 4-color changer. Now tighten the upper knurled nut, the small one. Be very careful here. Make this firm but not too tight. Be very careful not to twist off the bolt underneath. Place the elector on the 2 angular brackets on the stand, slide sideways. These are your openings for fitting on the angular bracket. We now want to fasten the racking angle bracket, shown here as number 2. Also notice the washers, shown as number 4. It's very important they go on in the angle shown in the drawing. The racking angle fits into place. Be sure that it's secure. Then slide the screws down through. Add the washer. Be careful of the angle on the washer. Screw on the wing nut. Now do the same thing up above. We slide in the screw. We put the washer in place. We now add the wing nut. You may want to get a pair of pliers and make sure these are absolutely tight. We are now ready to fit the support for the mast onto the Electra 3000. Put the special hexagon screw through the spacing bush and loosely fasten with a wing nut. Then we're going to push the upper part of the hexagon screw through a hole on the underside of the main carrier rail, and we're going to slide it into place. Slip the head of the hexagon screw up through. The edge of the color twin support should be approximately even with the edge of the blocking rail. Now fasten it securely in place by tightening the wing nuts. Here we have the form computer support foot. Use the small hexagonal bolts for this. Slip them through, fasten the wing nuts in place, and slide the heads through the holes on the underside of the main carrier rail. Slide the support foot into place. Tighten down the wing nuts. You can position this approximately in the middle of the bed. You can put your tension masts back in. Reattach the form computer holder. When you're ready to engage the Electra, you press the slider into the clutch on the toothed belt. pull out to disengage. To put in the control bar, simply push in till it clicks into place. This is the illustration for mounting your new farm computer driver that will hold the magnet. Note that the screw and the nut are furnished with the farm computer, not with the Electra. This is the same screw that was used to hold the stiffening plate that had to be removed before. Make sure that the indentations in the driver fit securely into the bracket. Push the screw down through and fasten the nut. You may need to use a wrench on the nut to hold it steady while you tighten down the screw. It may be easier for most of you to take the cam box off the beds to do this assembly. The magnet simply clicks on in place. This is the assembly of the trip wire to the cam box in the back. You'll be using the flat-headed screw and the spring washer and the wing nut. Before tightening the wing nut, pull the trip wire toward you. Pull it to the stop of the two slits in the driver for the cam box. You may also want to take the cam box off the beds to do this assembly. This is the support foot for the counter for accessory 2. Assemble the support foot to the Electra with the two special hexagon screws and the two wing nuts. Make sure that the supporting foot is positioned approximately in the middle of your knitting machine. Unless the farm computer is in your way, in that case, it will just have to sit next to it. Unscrew the two knurled nuts on the counter for accessory 2, insert the counter into the support foot, and screw on with the two knurled nuts. Fasten the knurled nuts with the screwdriver. Adjusting the counter lever. Take a screwdriver, loosen the back of it. Lower it to approximately the point you think it needs to be at. Tighten the screw in the back. Run the cam box back and forth. The trip wire should lift it high enough to advance the numbers in the display, but should not put undue pressure on the counter and force it to push back extremely hard. Notice the white holder of the tension arm. If this does not have holes in it, we need to put in one that does. Here you see the difference. The one on the right, I've outlined the holes in black. This is a new one. The one on the left has no holes in it, and it would need to be replaced so it was like the one on the right. Simply push down and it will snap off. Take the new one and you can use the table for leverage. Push down onto the antenna. Do both sides. Make sure it's secure. Run the end of the connecting cable up through the yarn bucket support. Pull it up through the opening in the yarn guide. We are now going to fasten the shorter wire of the connecting cable in the lower hole. Do this in the following order. First, the contact strap, then the shorter cable, then the washer, and then the lens head sheet metal screw. Now we'll fasten the longer cable in the upper hole in the following order. The longer cable, then the washer, and then the screw. Bend the contact strap back so that you have the distance of 3 to 5 millimeters between the tension arm and the contact strap. Here you see it better from another angle. To keep To help keep the connecting cable from getting entangled with the yarn, and also to keep the contacts of the connecting cable from breaking off, it's advisable to take a piece of tape and tape the connecting cable to this part of the mast. You have 3 cable clips to hook the wires out of the way on the underside of the main guide rail. Just simply slip it into the notch underneath and clip them into place. Here you see an underside view of the cable clips and how they can clip the wires in place. The black plugs will fit into the B slot. The red you can put in the C. The gray will fit in the A. Depending on what application you want to use with the accessory counter, you can put the red in the A slot also. Here's how you plug the foot pedal into the back of the Electra. Remember, your foot pedal is not a speed control. Before operating, always remember to remove the transport screw. Save this transport screw. Also give it to the customer who buys the Electra so they'll have it the next time they move it. One more time, you must have a color 80 4-color changer in order to use the Electra 3000. Sometime in the future, there will be new mounting brackets for the Electra 3000. Right now we'd like to point out some of the new modifications that will be taking place so that you'll be aware of these when this happens. The first change is the angular bracket that attaches to the stand. You will also have a fixing plate that slides into the stand. This time you'll be using 2 cylinder screws with a spring washer on each one to fit this angular bracket into place. Rather than the old mounting brackets on the extreme left-hand side, you will have a new racking plate. It will screw onto this part of the back bed in this position right here. For a special series of DM80s, the new racking plate will have to be adapted. A special nut, shown here as number 4, will need to be screwed into place. The special nut will just sit in place, but not be screwed in place in the back bed. Set the motor in place, align the racking plate of the back bed with the racking angle on the main carrier rail. Run a cylinder screw and a washer through from the other side. Put the spring washer on the screw on the side we're looking at here, and put on the hexagon nut. The screw in the washer from the other side. We put on the spring washer. Now the hexagon nut. We'll hold the screw in place with a screwdriver. Take a 10 millimeter socket driver, tighten it down, the same on the other side. Now tighten the nuts on the underside of the main carrier rail. This will hold the racking angle in place now. Also notice that the special hexagonal bolts that fasten down the support for the mast, and also the special hexagonal bolts that fasten down the support feet for the farm computer and the accessory counter, are already screwed in place underneath the main carrier rail. Here we're positioning the support for the mast.